For the longest time, the story in AI has been pretty simple. Bigger is always better. But what if the next big leap forward isn't about size at all? Today, we're going to look at a brand new challenger that's taking on the giants with a much, much smarter strategy. Yeah, the thinking has always been pretty straightforward. If you want a more powerful AI, you just scale everything up. More parameters, more data, more computing power. That's basically been the playbook for all the biggest names in the game. But, there's a huge problem with that brute force approach. It's incredibly expensive and, honestly, super inefficient. It really makes you wonder, what if the key to winning this whole AI race isn't just about raw power, but about a smarter, more efficient design? And that's exactly the bet a company called DeepSeek is making. They're coming out of China with this fresh approach that puts efficiency first, and they're aiming to deliver top-tier performance without those astronomical costs. So, let's meet the new players. DeepSeek has just launched 2 new models, DeepSeek v3.2 and the even more powerful DeepSeek v3.2 Special. And wow, their claims are pretty bold. They're saying they can go toe-to-toe with industry leaders like OpenAI's GPT-4 and Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro. So how are they planning to pull this off? Well, it all comes down to a really clever piece of tech designed to smash through one of the biggest bottlenecks in modern AI. So let's dive in and see how they're doing it. Okay, so the big hurdle here is something called dense attention. Basically, it's how most AIs figure out which words are important in a really long piece of text. The problem is, the cost just explodes as the text gets longer. Think about it. If you double the length of a document, you literally quadruple the amount of work the computer has to do. It's just not sustainable. So, DeepSeek's answer to this problem? It's called DeepSeek Sparse Attention, or DSA for short. Instead of looking at every single word in relation to every other word, which is crazy inefficient, it intelligently picks out only the most relevant bits of information to focus on. It's just a much smarter way to work. So, how does this actually work? Well, imagine you have a librarian with a superpower. A super fast, lightweight indexer just zips through the entire text, almost instantly, scoring every single word for how relevant it is. Then, the main AI model, the heavy lifter, only has to process the most important top-scoring words. It gets all the key info without doing any of the unnecessary work. Genius, right? All right, so DeepSeek didn't just drop one model, they actually gave us 2, and each one has a very specific mission. This isn't some one-size-fits-all thing. It's all about providing the right tool for the right job. So you've got the standard v3.2. Think of it as your everyday AI sidekick. It's lightweight, it's efficient, and it's aiming to match GPT-4 for all your normal reasoning tasks. But then you have v3.2 Special A. This one is a total specialist, built for one thing and one thing only: incredibly complex, deep thinking and stuff like advanced math and science. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. One of the key differences is something called tool calling. The regular v3.2 can do things like search the web or connect to your apps, which makes it a fantastic all-around assistant. The Special A model, though, it drops all that. It's totally focused on pure reasoning power. And get this, they're both open source under the MIT license. That is a huge deal for developers, giving them total freedom to build and innovate without any strings attached. Okay, so all of this sounds really cool in theory, right? But how does it actually perform against the big dogs? Does the bet on efficiency actually pay off? Let's check out the numbers and see what's what. And let me tell you, the Special A model isn't just talk. It's already hitting gold-level performance in some of the world's toughest competitions, like the International Mathematical Olympiad. We're talking about a model that can think at a truly elite level. So take a look at this. On the Amy 2025 math benchmark, you've got GPT-4 scoring a 94.6, Gemini 1.5 Pro at a 95, and just edging them both out, DeepSeek Special A with a score of 96. Now, it's a super narrow victory, but at this elite level, every single point is a massive, massive achievement. But here's the catch. All that incredible brain power doesn't come for free. To solve just one complex coding problem, Special A used around 77,000 tokens. To do the exact same task, Gemini only needed about 22,000. So what does that tell us? The Special A model thinks way deeper, but that deep thinking uses a lot more fuel, or in this case, tokens. So let's zoom out for a second.
Beyond the benchmarks and the token counts, what does all this actually mean for the bigger picture of AI? What are the real-world implications of having an efficient, open-source model like DeepSeek on the scene?
So this brings up a practical question, right? When would you use one over the other? Well, if you're building a product for customers where safety and reliability are absolutely critical, GPT-4 is still the established safe bet. But if your work is all about chewing through massive amounts of text and doing it as cheaply as possible, DeepSeek is pretty much tailor-made for that exact job.
And really, that's the bottom line here. DeepSeek could be a real turning point. We might be watching the whole game shift away from a simple arms race for the biggest, most powerful model to a new, more interesting race. A race to build smarter, more accessible, and more efficient AI for everyone. And this isn't just us talking about it. The developer community is buzzing. One Reddit user put it perfectly, calling this the golden age of open source models. And that really nails the excitement, right? This feeling that powerful AI is finally becoming available and affordable for more people to actually build with.
And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on. As we look to the future, what's going to define the next chapter of AI? Will it be this constant chase for more and more power, all held by just a few companies? Or will it be a push for greater access, for more efficiency, and for smarter design for all of us? DeepSeek's challenge suggests this race is really just getting started.